Hey, it's Ed here. On today's video, we're taking a look at technical analysis for Bitcoin with Elliott Wave Theory. On this video, again, we're going to be focusing on more of the smaller time frames, but first, again, going through the macro picture here. Now, we haven't gone through the macro in a while, so let's start with that first. So obviously, let's go through all the scenarios that we've been talking about. So the bearish scenario was this kind of bear scenario where we have this as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So a 5 wave going up. Now, the reason I've had this as a bear is because, again, we can end the downfall of Bitcoin coming down towards the June 2022 into these lows. And then we would have this as an ABC where this 5-way structure would be ending something here. And after that one, we would be coming down. Now, we have confirmed, however, at this point that this here, this area or this structure is not a 5-way move. It's not a diagonal. That was a possibility before, but not anymore since we had taken out this high. So that changes things a bit. So either, even if we can still think of this whole thing as an ABC, however, this middle structure here would need to be some kind of a 3-way structure as well. Potentially something like this, a flat that would either be this size of a structure that would be linking something like this to the upside, or this would be just the start of that more of a 3-way structure coming down where we would have another 3 and then another 3. At this point, this would be more similar sized to this whole thing here, and only then we would have another one of these structures going up in 3 waves. Okay, so that is one scenario. Another scenario is that we ended a structure here on the lows of November 2022, and this would be a start of something new. Coming down would be a WXYZ count, which is a bit more rare, but it's still possible. And having this as a potential wave 1 or wave A is completely possible as well. Now, at this point, I would like to I still like this idea better than the mega bull idea, based on the time. If we are comparing this in time, we see that 1-to-1 is not even close. So this structure here fits very well into the idea that this would be a 1-2. Now, if we are comparing this to the mega bull count, which would be a 1-2, 1-2, let's take a look at what I don't like about this. First is the wave 2 size in time, size in time compared to this structure. This structure again is smaller in degree, meaning that it should be smaller in time. However, we can visibly see it's very much larger than the structure here. We can clearly see that it's multiple times, like 5 times as long. So that is one of the reasons why I don't like it. The second is the extensions that we have here. As we can see, we go beyond the 1-to-1 extension, meaning that this larger degree structure is again smaller in price than the smaller degree here. Second thing that I don't like about that. So when we are comparing this and the other bullish scenario, which would be this, where this would be a potential wave A or wave 1, I would lean more towards this one based on those two. Of course, nothing here is invalid. Wave 2 can be here, and we can still remain super bull or mega bull in this scenario. And this would be just yet another 1-2, and this would be an opportunity, a massive opportunity once we come down, whether we have one more high or we just come down straight now. Only invalidation would be at these lows, and we'll talk about that next, what happens if those are taken. So, we've been talking about a few things coming down from this high here of April 14th. Since then, again, we had a few different ideas, one of which was that we had a 3 ways into W, 3 ways into X, and then 3 ways into wave Y. Again, wave Y, I was expecting one more low to be had, simply based on the extensions. 0.618 was only hit here at the lows, and that is the minimum extension for wave Y. Also 0.618, the minimum in time was there as well. Of course, that area of having two things lining up at the same spot is giving us some kind of indication that, okay, this definitely has the potential of being a pivot. However, again, those are not the main targets, which is why I was not really liking this scenario. But that is definitely a possibility. This is the way we can label this into that wave 2 that we were talking about. And then we would have this structure, which is definitely impulsive, having this as a forward move to the upside as the start of something new. Okay. The other way of looking at this, however, is this. Instead of having this as a that is not right, as X being done in here, we would move the X in here, and this actually should be most likely A, B, and then C. And this is either done here, or we have one more high. At this point again, the way you would be looking at this is that this would be a 3 waves here, 3 waves here, like we had on the wave X done, having that as a WXY, and we retrace the wave A with the wave B 1.236, which is again coming back to the expanded B pocket and having this as a very extended C wave. It should be here. Again, basically the maximum we are looking for is the 2.618 for expanded flats. If it goes well beyond here, the 2.618, 31.8k, then the probabilities of this scenario goes down. But for now, it's still there. And currently there is, of course, already divergence forming, smaller time frame here and here. So again, potential of coming down soon. So that is that. This would indicate that we would be looking for a 5-way move to the downside, at which again, this here would need to be some kind of diagonal. We'll look into that in just a moment. The only invalidation that we've had is this one, where we were looking for a diagonal possibility overall, either here or something like in here. Neither of those work anymore since we have already taken out the highs here. So the diagonal possibility from the highs of 14th of April is gone, and we can delete that completely. Now let's take a look at this smaller time frame, again very local structures, and see what we can find. So overall, there's a couple of different possibilities. One of which is this kind of WXY, some kind of 3-wave structure here. You can be labeling it ABC, I don't really mind. Having this as 3 looks pretty decent. This is 3 as well. Not the best though. It could be that we have it like this, and this. But we'll see how that turns out. This is definitely one of the possibilities. At this point, we would be looking for this whole thing to become a WXY or an ABC, depending on how much this retraces. But if this is indeed the wave X being, well, at some point possibly completed, I wouldn't expect this wave Y here to be going well past here. So some of the targets would be at the 0.618 here, around these previous highs. So we'll see how that goes. But for now, we can't really measure that until this potential C wave here would be done. Other ways of looking at this would be some kind of diagonal. Again, that was the idea for, let's see, if we zoom out, can we find the scenario? X not done, there we go. This scenario where we would be expecting a C wave here. So we would be looking for a 5-way move. So the only way we can be labeling this is some kind of diagonal. Whether you have this as wave 1, this would be 2, 3, 4, 5, something like this, or where you would already start your diagonal from here. Does not really matter at this point. I think there might be one more low to be had if that is the case. So again, for that scenario, we would be looking for a diagonal. Why is just because, again, everything here looks in 3 waves. So the only way of looking at this is some kind of diagonal, however you want to be labeling that. And then, of course, once we get that pullback, you would be going short against this high. And this would be the wave 1 of that C. There's a lot of gaps here at this point. Not much volume here either, in comparison to these previous areas where we just chopped around for so long before this massive rip. So again, it is definitely possible that we come crashing down through this as well. However, it's still possible to think that we have this as a 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 3, 4, and 5, like we have in the local count, where this is still to be done. And at that point, this previous wave 4 lows around 29.52 is going to be key. We don't really want to be going too much lower than this, so swing failure pattern of these lows here would give us a very decent possibility for another 5th wave here to be happening, and one more high before we come down again. Not like, oh, it doesn't need to happen. Am I going to be taking a short here once we go up a bit? Yes, I am. But again, that is just the second idea here. But those are all the scenarios I have for Bitcoin at this very moment, and all the scenarios on macro and micro as well. So we'll see which one of them is going to play out, but that's again all I wanted to share for this video. Again, if you made it this far into the video, the following advertisements are for you if you want to be learning more about Elliott Wave. If not, thanks for watching. Bye bye. Couple of advertisements here: Patreon Elliott Wave Basics course, weekly live streams and more Elliott Wave analysis. Udemy Elliott Wave Advanced course, including RSI, risk management, Elliott Wave strategies and time analysis, and counter-trend capital trade setups, education and community. Check us out if you're interested in learning more.